Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
Colton Brown. Good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing on this evening?
Is it afternoon or evening? You got to pick one.
Did I say afternoon and this evening? I probably
did. You went back and forth. I would say it's probably a little bit closer to evening in my estimation, and I will tell you I am having a good evening. And I will inquire how your evening is as well.
Good. It's going well. I made some progress in the kitchen today. I know that usually goes for the latter portion of this recording, but
that's okay.
It's okay. That's where I'm at. I've been doing a lot of kitchen work, and I think it'll be done by the end of this week. I'm feeling pretty hopeful about it, so see what happens.
I like the optimism. Have you been doing some work too?
Work at the car lot?
Yeah, work.
Oh yeah, work. I've been. You can call it that. I mean, today I downloaded a password manager at work for my personal account, not for the work account, and I literally spent all day porting over all my passwords and credit card information, personal information into a paid subscription for password manager. I talked to zero customers, helped zero customers, and sat there on my chair. We did order Publix subs. We got Publix subs.
That sounds delicious.
It was quite excellent. I had a chicken tender sub with some Cool Ranch Doritos. It was fucking excellent. And then I didn't do anything. You can call it work. You work. I show up, but there's not a lot going on. So,
yeah. Well, welcome to the new normal yet again.
The new norm.
So we are talking about Pixar's Onward on this episode, a movie that came out in theaters about a month ago and has now been released on Disney Plus for the masses to enjoy. Or not enjoy, potentially, depending on your perspective. We'll find out. We'll talk about it later. Don't worry about it. Really kind of crazy situation. Obviously, coronavirus still ever prevalent in our world. And Disney is one of the companies that have kind of stepped up to the plate as much as they could. Obviously, they're taking a huge financial hit in the fact that theaters shut down, Onward can't play and make millions of dollars for the next month or two. And they've decided, we do maybe have a way to recoup money, maybe earn some goodwill, and that's by putting this basically brand new movie on streaming. Which, if you're Netflix or Amazon, maybe that's not unheard of, but when you're Disney, that's pretty fucking unheard of. So it was a pretty big deal, and worked out well because I had seen it in theaters and Andrew had not. And now we have the chance to talk about it, maybe a little bit later than anticipated, but we are talking about it nonetheless, and that's exciting. It's cool. So thanks, Disney. Paychecks, please.
That's it.
Unless
Always
Andrew didn't like it. We'll
pockets.
find out. Do you have any Onward-related fun facts to share with the listeners?
Onward took over 6 years to make from
6
start
years.
to finish. 6 years.
Wow.
Which is quite a long time. I think that animated films probably take a little bit longer than live action films.
Yeah, I think
But
that's pretty
6 years-
standard, but yeah, 6 years
6
seems
years
like
seems a little excessive.
like
I
a
don't have
long
any
time.
backstory as to why it took so long. Pixar. I don't know. I have no idea. Anything would be what's it called when you just elaborate with unfoundedly? What's that called?
being presidential.
It's good. That's pretty good. I digress. I don't have more fun facts other than it took 6 years. I don't know why it took 6 years, but it seems like it took a little bit longer than what they usually take. So
Yeah,
that's all I got.
it's interesting. Well, I think it's an unfortunate situation to work on something for 6 years and then basically have it bumped out of theaters after 2 weeks because a pandemic strikes the globe. It's a situation they probably didn't account for in those 6 years. But we now have a way to watch it.
Mutants.
It could always be the New Mutants, and what's going on with that, we'll talk about it a little bit later. Don't worry about it as well. We'll talk about it. But yeah, I mean, at least, even if it's not making probably the millions that it would have otherwise, I'm sure they're recouping a little bit with the streaming service cost. and it's reaching an audience, that didn't get the chance to see it, obviously, when it was in theaters. But, even for the people that probably wouldn't have seen it in theaters, I still think you're probably hitting theoretically a wider audience by virtue of it just kind of being available however you want to watch it, phone, TV, so it's something at least. So 6 years of hard work. We'll talk about the final product very shortly. Let's first talk about some news. I have a couple pieces of news I want to talk about at the top, which kind of concern a similar note of, hey, things are shitty right now. Everyone's indoors. You're looking for something to do. Here's something to do. In theory, that's kind of what's happening right now. So HBO has kind of stepped up to the plate in the same way that Disney has did. Maybe even in a bigger capacity, you could argue, because they are offering 500 hours of free programming to the masses. And I mean totally free, totally ad-free, basically backlog of HBO content. It's mostly TV shows that are, making up those many, many hours, but there are a few films that will be available.
So it's not their catalog. It's not their catalog.
It's not the full catalog. But it's a lot of HBO shows, premiere shows that are, I think they're all finished. No, I think some are, at least have a couple seasons out or are finished in some capacity. It does not include kind of their latest mega hits, like Westworld is not amongst those that is available for free. Big Little Lies, Euphoria, Chernobyl, Game of Thrones, all also not included. So you'd have
should have included Game of Thrones.
Should they? Should they have? I don't know. You can watch the first 4 seasons for free.
Okay. Well, then they can leave you on the same hook I left on.
Yeah.
Don't watch after the free shit.
And if you want to pay money, I don't know, that might be kind of skeevy too, because it's just like, oh, it's so good, I want to watch more. Here's my $15. Hey, what's going on here? I've been swindled. But yeah, it's a good kind of pro-consumer move, right? Things are shitty. You need things to do. So here's some things to do. Here's a few options of things to watch. I don't, and these shows aren't going to be for everyone, but there's a pretty good range of shows that I think that will kind of cover to most people's tastes in some capacity. So in terms of shows, they're offering The Sopranos, Veep, Succession, 6 Feet Under, The Wire, Ballers, Barry, Silicon Valley, and True Blood. So you've got comedy, you got drama, you got dramedy. You got a lot of stuff covered in there. So I think you could find something to enjoy if you're really searching for something. And these are all seasons for everything that's been released thus far. So like Sopranos is 7 seasons, True Blood 7 seasons, Veep is 7 seasons. So lots and lots of content that's just kind of waiting for you.
And I would argue that if anyone's gonna dangle a carrot and ask for a subscription, like after the fact, you know what I mean? If you're looking for a free trial area, I think I tell everybody that I know of, if you haven't seen any HBO content, hop in on it and you'll find something you like. And I mean, it's tip-top quality. I mean, for sure. I think it really is the pinnacle of television.
Well, like they predate streaming services as like the quality, like, producers of TV shows, right? I mean, most of these shows predate Netflix being a streaming service, and I'm sure there's overlap with Netflix being a DVD distribution service and stuff like that. But like, there's a lot of stuff here that
it's just tip top
has always been good and has been around for
television
for quite a while, right? What I think that this is, if there's maybe a business aspect to this other than just being, hey, we got you. HBO Max is apparently debuting in May, which I have recently learned, and that is the combined platform for HBO and Warner Brothers to kind of consolidate their content and offer it in a streaming service platform. It's going to be the same price point as HBO at $14.99 a month. It's going to offer, from what I understand, all of HBO's current content, plus whatever WB is adding to that. So I know there's supposed to be some DC stuff going on there. I don't know exactly what else, like original content they're doing. I think they're supposed to make HBO Max movies exclusively for HBO Max.
WB's got a huge catalog of
stuff, but yeah, I mean,
catalog of actual films, right?
Right, and I would have to assume that even if it's not an exhaustive list of everything is on here day one, like maybe they kind of piecemeal it and give you a little bit here and there. There's probably a lot in there. Maybe Harry Potter stuff gets on there. WB has a lot of kind of
stuff,
franchises under their belt that they could certainly
Looney Tunes, dude,
put out there. Looney Tunes is true. I mean, like DC Universe is all WB stuff, so I assume that basically anything that's on DC Universe will probably be on HBO Max. That includes the shows, the movies, and stuff like that. I would think so, because I know like Doom Patrol's like a weird thing where like all future seasons are coming to both HBO Max and DC Universe. At which point it's like DC Universe is already kind of a failing thing. Why don't you just scrap it and incorporate it into it? I think that's probably inevitably what's going to happen, but. Yeah, I don't know.
Because the digital, I read some Swamp Things on the digital on the DC Universe thing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
but I don't want to pay. I get comments.
Clearly, the executives that canceled it at one episode end were like, "This isn't cool. I don't like this."
Fuckers. That was I don't know. I think that show had potential. Either way, I digress.
But yeah,
moving on.
So plenty of series available, some movies up there as well. Not the most impressive selection, I wouldn't say, but a couple new ones in there. Lego Movie 2, Detective Pikachu, some documentaries up there as well. So, it's free. Absolutely. It's free. You need something to watch, take a look. Maybe you'll find something. And if you do, it's free. Great.
If somebody complains about free shit, they're a fucked up individual. That's what I think about it. Don't complain about it. It's fucking free. If you don't want it, don't take it. It's free.
That's true.
That's what I think.
If you don't want it, don't take it. That's totally valid. But we do have some more free shit that you can try out exclusively on your mobile device in the form of the Quibi app. Tell me what you know about Quibi. I want to hear what you know.
I know nothing other than it's mobile exclusive and it's free on T-Mobile. I had the slow cooking. I don't know if you get the slow. Do you know that the CEO of T-Mobile does these slow cooking things on Facebook?
I know he's pretty prolific on social media, but not specifically about that.
He's got this long hair. He's like in his 50s, and he teaches you how to use a crock pot. He's always like, "Hey, I'm going to teach you how to make beef stew in the crock pot." And he hops up there, and he's in his penthouse making shit in his crock pot. Anyways, now he's offering us Quibi for free for a year, I think. I know that Teigen. Chrissy
Teigen. Yeah.
Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen's a judge, it looks like. She went to law school, became a judge, and she's performing trials on Quibi. I don't know if that's a real thing or if that's an authentic thing, but it's on Quibi. So I don't.
Chrissy's Court. Is that what you're talking about?
That's got to be what I'm talking about.
What's the premise of Chrissy's Court? Let's find out. It's an American comedic arbitration-based court show where Chrissy Teigen reigns supreme as the judge over one small claims case. The plaintiffs, defendants, and disputes are real as Chrissy's mom turned bailiff, Pepper Ty, maintains order in the courtroom. If you're not sold on Quibi by that, I don't know how to help you, my friend. All right, I think we've kind of danced around what the fuck Quibi is, more or less.
Give us the news.
It is a mobile-only streaming service. Akin to your Netflixes, akin to your Amazon Primes, akin to your Disney Pluses, but it's only available on your phone. And when I say only available on your phone, I fucking mean only available on your phone.
Locked down.
You cannot watch this on your television. You cannot Chromecast it to your television. You cannot do anything of the sort. It's supposed to be bite-sized episodes of TV shows or parts of movies given to you in 10 minutes or less sized videos for your viewing pleasure. There's a 90-day free trial that's currently ongoing. So they're giving you plenty of time to check out the Quibi content if you're all about the Quibi.
How much Quibi content is on there?
I don't know that there's a whole lot on there right now. There's a launch day lineup apparently of 50 shows and quote unquote chapterized movies. But again, those are all 10 minutes or less. And I think that a lot of the shows are, I don't know if it's quite weekly releases or how they're handling it, but I think they are giving it to you one at a time or maybe a few at a time. So it's not like you could just watch a thing on your phone and be done with it. You got to watch the thing on your phone and then wait to watch the next thing on your phone for another 10 minutes or less and keep on going.
Jesus.
I don't know.
Sounds terrible.
This sounds like the worst thing I've ever heard about in my entire life. Maybe a slight exaggeration. I don't know, but I don't like watching things on my phone. I don't watch things on my phone unless I absolutely have to. I don't watch fucking trailers that we talk about on this podcast on my phone. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to do
give more respect to the creators.
I think, I know that some filmmakers have kind of been on the record of being like, don't watch my shit on my phone. Chris Nolan, Scorsese, or, kind of, a couple to be like, no. And whatever, old man yelling at a cloud, whatever. But like,
no, I get it.
I just don't, I don't know.
A lot of effort gets put into framing and sound design and this and that, and for you to experience it on a fucking...
That's what you get. Okay. I thought you meant like, no. I'm coming out in defense of this app. I'm swinging for the fences. I'm going to bat for
It's indefensible. No, I don't think I can play devil's advocate on Quibi. I think it's I don't know how. I foresee a I foresee a movie pass situation right now on Quibi.
Well, and it honestly kind of feels similar in terms of like its business makeup. They got a couple $1 billion in investment money basically to get it up and running and to, I assume, hire talent. Surely, because there's a lot of, Chrissy Teigen's very popular, but there's a lot of people on here that like you're like, they're doing something for Quibi. Liam Hemsworth, maybe not. Christoph Waltz doing it for the Quibi.
Is doing some Quibi.
He's doing some Quibi with Liam Hemsworth in Most Dangerous Game. Sophie Turner, is looking for some new things to do. She's in a show called Survive. There's a new Punk'd with Chance the Rapper taking over the reins as host. Steven Spielberg is doing like a horror show, I think, or something like that for it. Sam Raimi is doing something for it. I think I saw Guillermo del Toro's name thrown around somewhere too, which probably won't happen because it's Guillermo del Toro. But I don't know. Like, it's just like, is there just so much?
I can't cast it on the TV. I can't cast it.
No,
or nothing?
No. You're watching it on your phone, and you're going to like it, unless they patch that out at a later date. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. The talent behind it to me suggests that maybe it has some legs for the initial run, but I just have a hard time seeing this like really having staying
It's got to be, listen, I mean, it's 90-day free trial. If you give me a Del Toro movie for 90 days, that's got to at least be 4 weeks if it's weekly episodes, right?
I mean,
so
yeah.
You get 36 episodes of 10-minute episodes.
I'm assuming that those big names are mostly like, yes, Guillermo del Toro produced this show.
You don't think he's making a Quibi?
I don't. I'd be surprised if Del Toro was like, yes, you can watch my new movie on Quibi in 9 parts. I just don't see it happening.
But it is free. It is free.
It's a free 90-day trial. It's done okay so far. It's the number 3 top free app overall on the App Store, following Zoom and TikTok, both certainly having some surging popularity of late. Its initial success with 300,000 day one downloads comes in at 7.5% of Disney Plus's day one downloads, which I think kind of goes to show that maybe one of those is a little bit more inherently appealing than the other. And also maybe it's also reflective of the fact that this mobile only thing is clearly designed for society functioning as normal, and it is not. And so this whole idea of, yes, watch this thing on your phone as you go to work, or, take the train to class. Like, people aren't doing that shit anymore. So it's just like, I don't know. And I saw $500 million was spent on marketing, and I have seen a lot of fucking ads for this. And I've seen so many ads, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? And so I finally, now that it's out, I've kind of looked at it and been like, oh, they spent how much on ads? I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Maybe we'll go in on the free trial. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think we're going to be reviewing a Quibi on.
I don't think we'll do
a repeat.
Maybe that's what we might run out of content at a certain point. We'll have to do just Quibi only content.
It's the pinnacle of fucking Corona. We have to cover Quibis.
we refuse to go on hiatus. We just talk about the Quibis. That's what we'll do.
It does have a good name, though. Kudos to whoever come up with Quibi.
Quibi.
That's where I'm going to end it with. Kudos
All
to
right.
Quibi.
Well, moving on to things that we may be forced to cover out of necessity. We have a trailer for an upcoming Netflix film called Extraction, debuting exclusively on the Netflix streaming service, which you can use on both your phone and your television. What a concept! On April 24th. Stars Chris Hemsworth, and I think it's at least produced by Anthony and Joe Russo of Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame fame. What'd you think? What'd you think of this trailer?
That'll look pretty cool.
Yeah?
I thought some of the they played that song throughout the trailer, which I like that song, I think.
Okay. I don't know what song it is, but
it escapes me now. I knew it when we came in here when I prepped for the episode, but I have since forgot. I
got you. Trailer music is apparently a remix of an Alt J song.
Yes, I like Alt J. Either way, I like real kinetic action.
Mm-hmm.
Like dread action or Keanu Reeves and
John Wick style
action, or the Raid kind of action, like when Chris Hemsworth kicks that dude in his legs and he goes backwards, but he hits the upper portion of his body on like the hole in the wall, and then he flips forward. That shit's cool. I like that. I mean, I guess I'm simple to please, I suppose. But I don't know. I got some Sicario vibes from it. I don't think it's gonna live up to Sicario, but it does have the Russo brothers behind it. If we can get anything like Winter Soldier, they do know how to film kinetic action, which is cool.
Yeah, so it's not being directed by the Russo brothers, for what it's worth.
Being produced, I guess, right?
But it's being directed by Sam Hargrave in his directorial debut, which may be worrisome, but he's worked as a stunt coordinator in the past, specifically a lot with the MCU. He worked on Civil War and Endgame, and the directors, I believe, for John Wick Chapter 1, which have now kind of gone their separate ways. One of them has continued to work on John Wick series, Chad Stahelski, and then David Leitch went on to do Deadpool 2, Atomic Blonde. Both of them were stunt guys.
Great.
Too.
Okay. Wow.
So I think maybe, someone that's pretty intimately involved in the filmmaking process isn't going to be wholly unfamiliar with being a director. You know what I mean?
It's just I think there's
a lot that goes into that. And so I think that it's probably a relatively easily translatable skill, at least in terms of making good action,
Right.
Maybe performances that's probably a harder thing to be able to pull off. But, you got talent here. You got Chris Hemsworth. There's a little David Harbour here and there throughout the trailer. So, a little bit.
I saw a David Harbour. I liked David Harbour.
Yeah. I don't love the piss-soaked filter that they used for it. But it is what it is. It's pretty common.
Yes. Pretty orange, pretty dehydrated piss.
So it's a little yellow looking, I would say. But yeah, it's I think if you can walk into this and hope for some good action, I think maybe you could probably find something hopefully enjoyable to pull out of it. I would say, it looks sometimes generic and sometimes
it's pretty samey.
But at the same time, like you could still have a cool version of that done. Special shout out. There's one, just to kind of back up the talk of, maybe this guy knows what he's doing behind the camera. There's the shot. It's I think it's a tracking shot of the car, and then it kind of swoops into the back seat, and it's very fluid and kind of, keeps the continuity there. And I'm like, all right, that's a clever way to shoot that. I enjoyed that. So April 24th is when this will debut. Obviously a few weeks away, and we don't know what we're going to be covering in the imminent future. So is this something that would be on your radar? Would you be amenable to it if there's nothing else? I watched
what was the last big action movie that came out? It had Ben Affleck in it. Remember that? I like Netflix, okay? I watch a lot of shit on Netflix. It's convenient.
I know what you're talking about, the movie you're talking about. There was also the one that came out a little bit more recently, the Michael Bay one with Ryan Reynolds, which was apparently horrendous. Six Underground or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I know what you're talking about. I never watched it.
But yeah.
You know, and during these tumultuous, what's my word?
Tumultuous. Mm-hmm.
Yes, during these times, those times that Colton says that I can't say. Netflix is fucking crushing it. They got Tiger King. They've got these. They're pumping
Tiger
shit
King
out.
is still owning the world, man.
No,
another episode apparently going to drop too.
They can't continue to produce fucking content. So hopefully they got a backlog of shit, which they probably do. They just produce endless amounts of shit. So, good or bad, they do continue to keep us engaged in whatever's going on that platform.
Yeah.
So we have to look forward to a Russo Brothers movie in the middle of coronavirus when we're not seeing much of anything else. So, hats off to Netflix to having a very aggressive, production line of shit. Whether it's good or bad or whatever, you're giving us stuff to watch, which is cool.
Yeah.
New stuff to watch, which is
for sure
unprecedented at this time, really. So.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to the last thing that we should talk about, and that's the things that we won't be seeing in the imminent future because of even more delays. Some new delays, some old, some new release dates that we'll talk about. First one that I'd like to mention is Candyman has been pushed to September 25th from its original release date of June 12th. So a little bit of a delay there. Gets a little bit closer to the Halloween season, I suppose, if nothing else.
Seems appropriate.
Not quite, but it's something, I suppose. And everything else is really kind of Disney-based. Disney has set a lot of new release dates for some things that were previously announced as being delayed. And so they have kind of a really kind of radically altered slate overall. So Mulan has been dated for July 24th of this year. And so that's obviously from March, so that's a few months that it's looking at in terms of a delay. Hopefully things are up and running by July 24th. Clearly Disney is hoping as such, or at least expecting as much anyway. However, that was the original date holder. The original date holder for that date was the Jungle Cruise movie with The Rock and Emily Blunt, which has now been delayed a full year.
Yeah, fuck that movie. Put that movie
gone to July 2021. It's been banished to the shadow realm of 2021. Yeah, I mean, I'm way more excited for Mulan than Jungle Cruise, obviously, but that's a big old delay for that. So that's pretty wild. And there's some Fox. What was Fox is now 20th Century Studios. A lot of the movies that were dated for the summer have been moved as well. So the Free Guy movie with Ryan Reynolds, where he's the NPC, has been bumped from July to December. So a whopping delay on that one.
Wow.
December release dates, for the most part, are intact for what they had previously set. West Side Story, Ridley Scott's The Last Duel, apparently both set to debut in December as well. The French Dispatch, I believe that's what it's called, right? The new Wes Anderson flick. All right. Yeah. I'm looking at the Deadline article and it calls it the Fresh Dispatch, and I'm like, I don't think that's what it's called. I could be wrong.
Might be what it's called now.
It's been delayed from July 24th to October 16th. Indiana Jones 5, which is still technically directorless, but is apparently still trying to get James Mangold to sign on to the dotted line, has been bumped a full year as well, from July 2021 to July 2022. Probably would have happened regardless, but it's official now. There's a few things that have been undated. Personal History of David Copperfield, Antlers, Woman's in the Window, and, you guessed it, The New Mutants, still undated. Allegedly release dates to be announced soon. Interestingly enough, Bob Iger did announce that some films might be coming to Disney Plus instead of hitting their theatrical window.
That's the way to do it.
Looking to shoot New Mutants. I think you might be thinking about it. Artemis Fowl is the first of a potential line of films to elude its release date in theaters and go straight to Disney Plus.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you, okay? We haven't talked about Artemis Fowl, have we?
We have not talked about it. I can't remember. If we have, I don't remember what we said about it. Do you have some thoughts to share?
Yeah, I have some thoughts. I never read the book, so I have an unfair bias, I guess. But I'm getting some fucking Oprah Winfrey flying lettuce.
There's some Wrinkle in Times vibes for sure.
That's it, Wrinkle in Time. I couldn't think.
Absolutely. Yes, I would agree. I was wondering, and I'm like, oh boy, he's not spinning positive on this one, is he? I don't know what the hell he's watching.
No, I'm spinning very, very
I
negative.
think we might have talked about it a while back because it was supposed to come out, I think, last year sometime, and then it got delayed to this year pretty late, and now it's just saying, they're just saying, fuck it, put it on Disney Plus. To me, honestly, it's a sign that they knew that it was a big stinker, and they put some money into it, so they can't just get rid of it entirely, but we can certainly do something about it, and that's just put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And hope everyone's cumulative lowered expectations make it a better viewing experience than it would have been otherwise. Yeah, I think it looks fucking horrendous. Like really, so really bad. And I haven't read the books either, but from what I've understood, just from circling discussions around it, it sounds like they've royally fucked the adaptation part of it in the sense that like it seems to misunderstand everything about the book. So that's fun, obviously. But yeah, Disney Plus, why not? I don't know if I'll watch it even still, but I don't think I would have seen it in theaters if nothing else, unless we really absolutely had nothing to watch that week that it came out.
I don't know. I don't want to keep going on about Corona, but it seems like the right time. If you can time up the right movie to slot in when theaters unanimously open, like all the theaters, all the markets open at once, which is, it's probably not, that's not likely, I guess. But if you could time it correctly to have an excellent blockbuster movie to open up, I bet you would make stupid money right now. Just unprecedented, like breaking all the records kind of money right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you...
Everybody's off of quarantine. Everybody can go out to the theaters, and there's this awesome blockbuster hit that just came out. Everybody's going to go see that shit. Every single person on the face of the earth. I think
that each studio is kind of hoping that it inevitably kind of falls on them. Because like so
who's
Disney,
hoping it's the December release?
Oh well, I mean,
with the fucking not Ryan Reynolds. Is it Ryan Reynolds?
The Free Guy? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Somebody moved it from fucking July to December. That's the best you got.
I don't know. Well, so it's interesting because I was going to say that Disney and Pixar still have Soul designated for mid-June.
Yeah.
Which, obviously they're expecting that to make money, and they haven't made a move with it yet. Tenet, I think, is either June or July, as we discussed. Still hasn't moved. I guarantee Chris Nolan wants all those screens to himself if he can. So
sure.
I don't know. We'll see. Tenet is July 17th. I just actually saw it on the list now. So I don't know. Either way, if nothing else, it's going to be a very fucking backloaded year.
Yeah.
And that includes
at the end of the year.
That includes some Marvel content. I saved the most interesting thing for last. Marvel has set a chain reaction of release dates as a result of the new dates that they've placed. So Black Widow has now taken over the November 6th release date from the Eternals. And basically everything is now sliding into the next slotted release date per the Marvel calendar. So Eternals has now been bumped from 2020 entirely. It's going to take over the old date from Shang-Chi, which was February 12th of 2021. Shang-Chi is going to move to May 7th of 2021, which was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness's old date. Doctor Strange 2 is going to move to November 5th of 2021, which was Thor Love and Thunder's old date. Thor Love and Thunder is going to head to February 18th, 2022. 2022? God, wow, that's going to be hard to say. Which was previously set for some sort of Marvel movie, but it hadn't been officially announced. That will now be Thor. Black Panther 2 is staying on May 6th of 2022, and Captain Marvel 2 is now going to be July 8th of 2022. No word on what's happening with the Disney Plus shows. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier was pretty close to being done filming, if not, basically done more or less. Not sure what WandaVision's or Loki's status was, so those may be impacted as well, but no word on that. But yeah, that's a hot mess of dates that just happened with Marvel. But the bottom line is, as of now, there will be one MCU film for this entire year, which is fucking shitty. As a result of that, there will be 3 at the very minimum next year, theoretically, plus a potential 4th if Spider-Man holds its date, which is also set for 2021. So we may have a year with 4 MCU films as a result of everything kind of going down the way that it has. So yes, that's a hot mess again of things that just happened. I'm sure people had difficulty following that, but
it's a good year for Disney Plus to take off.
Black Widow, November. Yeah. So and people did speculate, does Mulan or Black Widow move to Disney Plus? I didn't think that was going to happen. I think Artemis Fowl is a perfect candidate to dump on Disney Plus because it's probably going to lose
Disney
money
Plus
in theaters.
Movies, though, the shows. I'm talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Disney needs to be like, hey, listen, pump the shit out right now. Drive subscribers.
Well, assuming that they're basically done filming, or even if they do like a half the season kind of thing, just to get some content out ahead of time, maybe that's something that they'd look at. But if you have 2 weeks left of filming, you're kind of fucked because you can't release the final episode, so you have to do something. But
it's true
because productions are shut down too, and you have to remember. So it's I don't know, not an envious position for any studio to be put in. Certainly something that I'm sure Kevin Feige is not thrilled about. People having to wait now an extra handful of months to see Black Widow, but I'm also not thrilled about it. But it is what it is. We get it, but it's still really, really shitty kind of when it comes down to it. But maybe we'll have a fucking jam-packed 2021 as a result. We'll see. I think it's gonna be a busy ass year next year, assuming there's no other fuckery that happens upon us. So yeah, that's kind of the rundown of the latest in the COVID-19 induced film and television delays. I guess just film delays, but yeah. So that's the news. We can now talk about Onward, if you would like.
We can talk about Onward.
All right, let's do it. It was written by Dan Scanlon, Jason Headley, and Keith Bunnan, directed by Dan Scanlon, starring the voice talents of Tom Holland, Chris Pratt, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Octavia Spencer. It's about 2 elven brothers who embark on a quest to bring their father back for one day. Did you get a chance to watch this? Did you watch it over the weekend?
I got a chance to watch this on Monday. Watched it on Monday.
Okay, cool. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it.
All right.
I thought it had its shortcomings, but it had sentimental moments, which hit pretty decent. Drove a tear, as Pixar movies usually do. I don't know about these animated films. They, I don't know. They can really punch out some emotion when they really try to. It was humorous when it tried to be. I think a lot of the humor landed well with me. I laughed quite a bit. I enjoyed the fact that it was like D&D, but the D&D is like rooted in history, which is pretty awesome. I don't think that's spoilery considering the trailers that they released.
It's covered in like the first 2 minutes of the movie too. Right.
So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I thought that I don't know what didn't click as hard as I thought it should have clicked. I thought I could have done better, but I don't know where it could have done better at. Does that make sense? I don't have any meaningful criticism of the movie. I know that certain emotional impacts impacted me. I laughed when I thought it was funny, but I don't think that it didn't light the world on fire.
Yeah, I think that's totally valid. It's okay for things to just be good but not great, kind of thing. Well made, well put together, but not super groundbreaking in any sort of way.
I don't think 6 years makes any sense to me. To be honest with you,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just guess speaking purely from my perspective, I thought
What's your perspective?
Well, I just thought the marketing for this was bad. It looked bad.
It was bad.
It looked like a complete misfire from Pixar. The designs looked way too DreamWorks-esque for my taste. How to Train Your Dragon aside, I think it's generally a valid criticism of just character designs just not being great. And honestly, I think a lot of that is still true in the final product. Like I still don't think that the designs are great. I don't think it's it's not the most appealing Pixar visual movie the most visually appealing Pixar movie by a good margin. But I think the story beats work pretty well. I think the characters
it's interesting.
Are well written, and kind of, I think that the sibling dynamic, the brother dynamic that they establish between Ian and Barley works. I think it grows naturally throughout the movie, and I think by the time you get to that traditional Pixar emotional payoff, it works. I think it's earned, and I think it hits the mark in terms of not only it doesn't to me feel manipulative of like, oh, you got to get sad now because it's Pixar. Like, to me, it felt like no, this felt like a genuine moment of connection between these characters, and one that that we've now spent. Angle. Yeah, and I think the way it kind of went about its resolution was, I think, interesting and surprising in some ways. But I would agree on the whole. It's not top tier Pixar or anything, I wouldn't say. But I will say it was a genuine surprise for me in the sense that it wasn't bad like I kind of feared it might be. I was like, oh boy, this could be a Cars-esque type stinker. I think for sure.
It was a solid movie.
But
I can't quite put my finger on. Maybe it's the design. Maybe it's the aesthetic of the movie. I
just don't think it helps. And I like the world. I agree with you in the sense I like the world, but I just still find the design largely uninspiring.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just uninspiring. Maybe
and fantasy setting, fine. But I there's just nothing about the character design or the animation style that really seems not even
special. Not even
samey, like it doesn't have. I was going to
template.
Right. I was going to say novel, and I'm like, it doesn't even have to be novel. It just doesn't feel special. It feels kind of bland, kind of generic fantasy modern world.
Maybe that's
mashup.
What it is.
But I still think it thrives kind of within the scope of kind of the world that it is trying to represent. But
it was pretty though.
It's well animated. It's certainly technically really well done. I think it's just the style itself just doesn't wow me, I guess.
Right.
But I did,
Maybe that's what it is.
Like I said, I liked the world, and I liked kind of the way they played with the D&D fantasy type stuff being kind of a historical thing, and some of that kind of comes to the forefront throughout the span of the movie in interesting ways, and it's good. I think it's
my favorite thing about this movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad I picked up on it because I meant to say something about it when I was watching it. It felt very much like a Goonies or a Indiana Jones movie, just in animated format. Don't get me wrong. I would really appreciate something novel or something just special about the movie and the way it was animated and the way that it was drawn up and all that. But it was pretty. The characters were interesting, but the adventure itself was very unique. And I appreciated that. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty kind of simple story in the sense that it's just two brothers going on a quest. But I liked that about it. Maybe I don't know if that's quite exactly what you're getting at, but
yeah, it was just a good angle. It's a good angle. Hey, listen, we can't talk about it, but a certain situation arises, and two brothers that normally squabble, they're taken off and they're going on an adventure for the greater good, and their relationship expands because of it. The recognition of the existing relationship expands because of it. And there's an emotional journey there between the two characters. It's very good. It's a good character piece. The framework of the story is unique. in the sense that it's a already D&D setting, but it's a D&D setting that's set in modern times that has historical meaning with D&D stuff, which I think is pretty cool. And I don't know, it seems like it's a unique story set in a modern framework, but with movie sentiments that I really enjoy, like just the old school like 80s adventure movie is what it seems like, but in a modern animated film, which is, like I said, I think it's a cool mashup. Yeah, I don't think it nails everything by a long shot, because I really don't feel it does. But I think that I do think it hit a lot of the notes it tried to hit, which is cool. It made it entertaining viewing.
I think certainly for me by the end, it kind of, I think it kind of hit the mark. I think overall, like when it comes down to it, I think so. Yeah, I was surprised by it. I saw it in theaters, obviously, like 2 days before theaters shut down. And I rewatched it on Disney Plus just a couple days ago because I wanted to rewatch it, because I was so surprised at how much I enjoyed it the first time around. And I still enjoyed it with the second viewing. That the humor worked pretty well throughout. Tom Holland and Chris Pratt are obviously kind of the two most prominent characters throughout, and I thought that they had a good dynamic. So yeah, I liked it. I guess
Here's a question for you.
We both have questions. Tell me your question, and then I'll ask mine.
My question is as time goes on, as we get older, we see a lot of the same actors and actresses work with each other.
Yeah. Especially
these big blockbuster kind of people. Do you think that the sort of interactions and the sort of interactions that that two particular actors or actresses have with each other across multiple films, do you think this is unique for this time, or do you think it's something that's happened since film started?
Well, I mean,
did I frame that right? I'm feeling slightly buzzed from the wine, but the question is like obviously Tom Holland has worked with Chris
Pratt, right? Avengers, sure.
And obviously they have that dynamic from that film, and they carry that over to this film. And I mean, it happens all the time, especially with these Marvel movies, because they, like, Chris Hemsworth works with all sorts of people, and do you think that this is a unique thing where they leverage the star power of certain people, and they obviously have worked with other people before? Or do you think that it's, I don't know. Do you think it's happened before? That's the question.
I'm still not entirely sure that I follow the question, but I will do my best to answer. I mean, I guess
they work together. I guess everybody's always worked together, right?
Well, I think that at least historically, there's always been like a usual like subset of actors that work together a lot, and so
that happens frequently throughout history of film?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I didn't know if that was another question. I was just like, I was trying to provide an answer. So, for instance, I'm just looking at the Rat Pack was the 1960s. Basically a group of actors that basically appeared in a lot of films together. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, Joey Bishop were in Ocean's 11, the original, Sergeants 3, Robin and the Seven Hoods. That was in the 60s, just kind of the same group of actors
people
that frequently work together.
It's almost like the same thing with our Marvel people or
right.
MCU people.
And more recently, relatively more recently, the Brat Pack, 1980s. A lot of those people that appeared in John Hughes films, Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Rob Lowe, like they just appeared in a lot of films together for the most part. And I guess more recently it would probably just be, kind of big franchise type things of.
So there's a historical precedence for a group of people appearing in the same films together.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
And there's also obviously actor-director pairings that are pretty common too. And inevitably that involves a lot of the same actors. I mean, how many times has Michael Caine appeared in a Christopher Nolan film?
Right.
Which inevitably, how many times has
Tarantino
so-and-so
things.
appeared in a Christopher Nolan film alongside Michael Caine and such. So I think that maybe there's an element of that. I guess like Tom Hardy was in Inception, then he was in The Dark Knight Rises.
Right.
But, so both with Michael Caine in them. So I think I'd say it's probably relatively common overall. And
people like to work together.
But I think it makes sense, in the sense of these two have a good dynamic in a movie. Why don't we just replicate that and translate that to a different setting? Like, I think sometimes it may be as simple as that. Maybe it's even less complicated than that, in the sense that we just cast them independently, and what do you know, they work well together, as we've seen before. But yeah, I think it's definitely happened throughout history, and I think will continue to happen, assuming movies still get made. Does that adequately kind of touch the basis on what you're trying to get at? All right.
Yeah, that was it.
I wasn't 100% sure what you're angling for, but I was trying to.
No, I think it is. I think it is, though. You answered it with historical references, which was good. The Rat Pack and
Rat and Brat, very, very helpful. I think, was it like Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn? Like, all those fucking guys appear together too.
For like the 90s stuff?
I'm sure they have a name for their... I thought they were the Brat Pack. Maybe there's two different Brat Packs. I don't know. It's a hot mess. Let's find out. We're going to find out.
What do you call those groups of actors?
Here we go. They are the Frat Pack. I knew there was a fucking name for them.
See? It's good.
Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson, Will Ferrell, Steve Carell, and Vince Vaughn. There you go.
See, that's cool.
That's funny. So yes, I think it's definitely something that's cropped up time and time again. And again, we'll hopefully continue to do so. I had a question.
That was a tangent. Apologize
for you.
All right.
And my question was going to be, well, given the fact that we can't recommend people go see this in theaters, I thought maybe it would be appropriate for us to just implement our TV rating scheme for these streaming films, in the sense that, I mean, we could tell you to go watch it on streaming, but it's either that or don't watch it on streaming, and maybe that's a little bit too binary of a scale that we want to aspire to. So I thought maybe we could just go with our time. I don't even know. I was just going to try to build it up. Our very fucking goofy rating scheme of very yes, totally fine, and shithouse rating scheme that we use for our television shows. Why don't we just go ahead and use that for our movies that we'll cover until theaters are up and running?
Okay.
In which case, my question to you would be, how would you recommend this to people listening?
I would rate it as yes.
All right. I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you on that one.
Movie.
I agree. It's not top tier Pixar. It ain't Coco or anything like that, but I think it's good. I think it's good enough, certainly, but I think it's good. I think, I think there's a lot to enjoy in it, and I think that given its now wide availability, it's certainly something I think that you could spend an hour and 43 minutes with.
It's a good investment of time, I think.
Yeah. It's not too long, doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's totally enjoyable, and has enough emotional resonance to kind of make, I think, the journey, the quest, worth taking overall.
Right, I'd agree with that. 100%.
All right.
Well,
very good. So with that, we shall proceed on this quest to full spoilers for Onward. Is there anything more specific that you wanted to... It kind of seems like there's a couple of things that you didn't love about the movie. Is there anything that just didn't totally land with you that you could identify in spoilers now? Or is it just more just a general sense of, I liked it, but whatever, it's fine. It's I didn't
I just thought it was
away.
totally fine. I didn't think it found its footing until until after the first act. I thought the first act
so like
was
when was
choppy.
it when was it you think that maybe it clicked in place for you, like
it clicked in place when he found the stone with his dad, or from his dad, I should say.
Okay, all right, yeah, sure.
And then the adventure really starts off. I thought I don't know, that he meets some dude that knows his dad in like the restaurant in the very beginning, and it's kind of like, okay, and he's getting picked on, and his brother's kind of like super dweeby, and I don't know. The first little portion there didn't didn't really suck me in. I actually think I actively kind of looked at my phone and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the
Right,
bad
yeah,
thing
fair
about
enough.
looking at it at your house. You know, you can just kind of like, okay, this isn't terribly interesting.
For
I'll
sure.
just kind of
Because
look at the phone.
I watched it in theater the first time, obviously, and you kind of just take it in as it goes, right? You don't really have time to like pause or like look at your phone or whatever, which, to be fair, there weren't that many people in the theater anyway, but I didn't. And so I kind of like, my impression of the movie was kind of formed by kind of the whole thing walking out, as opposed to just being like 20 minutes in. I'm like, I could pause this and just go do whatever I wanted to do right now.
Right.
But when I watched it with Anna the second time around, and it was probably about 15 minutes in, and she's just like, does Barley get better in this movie? Because he's the fucking worst. And I was just like, he becomes more endearing. And by the end of the film,
good. Okay, good.
I kind of asked her about that, and she said that he got better. I still don't think she was totally in love with that character, but I think that may be a common sentiment, right? Of just being like,
like you can make a lame character and make him compelling, but he just wasn't all that compelling, and he was lame at the same time.
Yeah,
it's like he wasn't terribly interesting.
He was basically just playing Jack Black, wasn't he? Wasn't that kind of the wasn't that kind of what he was doing? Like I could totally see Jack Black pulling that role off, but maybe I don't know. I like Chris Pratt, to be fair, but Jack Black would have been good.
Ooh, hit my knee on the desk. God damn. Ooh, it hurt so bad. Oh, fuck. Oh.
Enjoy, everyone. Enjoy Andrew's pain.
Anyways, I don't have anything really crazy in the. I did enjoy the magical spells and how they used them.
Yeah, and it was kind of a gradual kind of building of the repertoire of spells that he could learn, and it worked well. And obviously, there was some pretty obvious hallmarks of like, oh no, you can't learn that lightning spell. Like, you're not good enough for that. He's obviously going to use that in the third act, no doubt in my mind. But at the same time, like, it was, I think, still clever uses of the spells, even where obvious.
That's cool. It's classic D&D stuff, man.
Right. The bridge sequence was pretty good, and there's just a couple times where it's just like they enlarged the Cheeto, and that was pretty fun.
Right.
And just like the combination of things, like even really probably the first time that he uses the levitation spell to basically save his dad, whose pants from the falling logs, or like, basically saving him in the Manicore's tavern. Like,
yeah,
it was kind of unexpected, and it's just like oh, cool kind of thing, and I thought it worked pretty well.
I laughed my ass off when the Manicore like stung the fucking lizard person at the pawn shop.
Yeah,
I thought that was great. You can't do this.
I thought
that was funny.
There was some good visual humor with dad pants, which I thought, like, I just remember.
Good.
God, I remember. I think it was. I feel like they held back as long as they could on like the whole storyline of dad being pants for like within the trailers, and then when the final trailer that came out that like kind of shoved that off, I'm like, this is the fucking worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Again, and I was just like, God, this just looks bad, and I was again surprised by like, oh, dad pants actually was pretty funny throughout, just even like it like there's just a physical comedy aspect to it of him having like the thing that's kind of on top of him to make him look like a human.
They're obviously fans of Weekend at Bernie's is what it is,
right? And it's that kind of style of physical comedy that works really well, and it's actually pretty funny. The gas station in particular, when like what are you looking at, shades? He's just fucking like just mean mugging over there, like, you talking to me, bitch?
It's pretty good.
Which was just pretty funny, It was legitimately pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, spoiler wise, I guess it's. I guess in terms of the ending, what probably surprised me most was the way that it kind of dealt with dad coming back, in the sense that Ian deliberately kind of passes on the opportunity to see his dad in service of Barley getting a chance to see him. And he kind of sees him through the little keyhole. But kind of the moment of looking at the list and realizing that, well, I didn't have a dad, but I had a big brother that kind of helped take care of me. And then realizing that Barley had a moment to kind of say goodbye properly. Like, I thought that all worked really well. Coincidentally, it seems that Chris Pratt has a knack for playing characters that don't like to be bedside with their immediate family, as they unfortunately deal with some
He didn't have a choice in
medical
the first
trauma.
movie. All right, he didn't have a choice. He was stolen. I guess he ran away.
He kind of ran away a little bit before he got stolen, but
he did. But then he got fucking
you know,
stolen by fucking aliens.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't get stolen here, to be fair.
No, it was good though. It was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie.
I didn't see it coming. I just, I could have seen a version where neither of them get to see him, or they both get to see him for like a minute, and it's just kind of a happy ending, and then he goes away, and it still, kind of has a little bit of emotional resonance. But I think for Ian,
a lot of character growth for the one that was the wizard. I can't remember his name.
Ian, yeah.
Ian had a lot of growth, which was good.
And I think they both had a bit of growth too.
He totally kicked ass at the end, which was cool.
He did kick ass at the end. He was fighting that little dragon. The dragon with the school mascot on its face was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Good. And the angry eyebrows was good too.
I did laugh at all of that. I did. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was overall, it was a good movie. It was unexpected. I thought it could have been. There's things that I think that could have been better, but I can't quite put my finger on them. So okay. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, and
I think it all just suffers from that first.
Maybe that's what it is. It just doesn't grab you from the get go, and it kind of takes a little bit of time to find its footing. I think that's fair. I mean, it's definitely more interesting once it gets into the quest, into the fantastical aspects of everything. I'd agree with that. I think honestly, even kind of, I don't know. I think it does a good job of
Goonies. I want to watch the Goonies.
All right, well, do it. I think it does a good job of balancing both the fantastical and the modernized settings, because I enjoyed kind of when they are kind of off-road and doing kind of the fantastical things, but at the same time there are certain set pieces like the gas station itself was fun.
Yeah.
I did enjoy its depiction of the highway being the scariest thing to merge on, like, Ian having to kind of get over his fears.
I'm not
and
ready.
I don't know.
Merge. The fucking when he's telling his brother to merge, it was the greatest. It was the greatest thing. You'll never be ready, merge. But he's small. He's like itty bitty when he's screaming it.
Yeah, that was
merge!
Good too.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. Rest in peace,
fairies.
Guinevere number 1.
Yeah, the Guinevere was pretty cool.
The gallant moment for Guinevere and a heartbreaking sacrifice. What were we saying?
The little fairies were fucking cool. I like the little fairies.
Yeah, that was fun.
They're all fucking angry.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm kind of running out of steam myself. I don't know what else to say. But well, hold on. I know what I have to say. You talked about what you were doing at work earlier, and I have another question for you. Okay. Would you say that you were working hard or hardly working? The moment where he fucking lets his hair down and starts running was incredible.
He says, I was born to run.
The character was the worst throughout, but that was an excellent moment, and I loved it. And also, Blazy, the dragon dog, was fun, too. So good on you, Blazy, the dragon dog. All right, now I'm definitely out of things to say.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
So what have you been watching? I know you've been watching some things.
So I have been doing a few things. I have started watching The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, shit.
The Fellowship of the Ring. I figured it's worth mentioning in the spirit of a fantastical film that we just watched. Lord of the Rings is better than Onward, I will say. But it's been a little while since I've watched any of them, I would say. So there's a few things that I'm rediscovering, I guess, and it's good. I forgot that the Blu-rays were split on the extended edition discs, which is like, what year is this kind of thing? But it looks damn good, so I guess there's that. But yeah, Fellowship is great. I think I'm going to watch Two Towers relatively soon as well, and presumably Return will follow shortly after that.
So you finished The Fellowship, is what you're saying?
I have about an hour left in The Fellowship, but I'm going to finish that later this evening. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
God damn it, those movies are so good. Have you seen You Shall Not Pass?
I haven't. No, I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh
no,
my God, goosebump inducing. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Ben was at fucking, what is that? Islands of Adventure, when he was in the caves with the dueling dragons. And his echo just echoed all throughout the cave. It was so good. So good. Like top tier fucking memories of just Ben and life in general.
Yeah.
Islands of Adventure, You Shall Not Pass. So good in the caves. Anyways, I digress. What else you got?
I also watched a film called Fighting with My Family, which is a wrestling movie of sorts, about the life of former, I guess, retired WWE star Paige, starring Florence Pugh and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, directed by Stephen Merchant, of all fucking people, for some reason. It was good. I totally enjoyed it. It was funny. I didn't think it looked great from the trailers that I'd seen for a while, but I watched it on Amazon Prime, or whatever it's called. It's called Prime, right? Yeah. It's available for free if you have Prime. And I thought it was funny and enjoyable. And I think the thing about it that works is that even if you don't give a shit about wrestling, which I admittedly don't, I still think it's appealing regardless. It's like a sports movie in general, but you don't have to be so attached at the hip to what the sport is to really get it. And so I think that's kind of one of its strong suits, and a good sense of humor overall too. I think that really carried it along. A little bit more New Girl on my plate in terms of the TV world. I think probably only a couple more episodes since we last spoke, but continues to be good. I've seen it recommended on a couple like what to binge during quarantine type like lists. So apparently I'm not the only one enjoying New Girl during these times, but all seasons are on Netflix for anyone that does feel so inclined to hop in on it. It's good fun. And video games are the things that I want to say a few things about. So I was feeling inspired. We covered Castlevania last episode, and I hadn't had a chance to play anything Castlevania related. So what I did is I knew that there was a Castlevania collection on the Switch, and I thought, let me go check that out. And it wasn't on sale, so I didn't buy it because I knew I had seen it at 50% off a few months back, and I'm like, if this thing's going to go on sale, I'll buy it then, but I'm not going to do it now because I know it will go on sale. And so my backup option was, I know if you have Nintendo Switch Online, you can play certain Super Nintendo games and Nintendo games. And so I looked. There wasn't a single Castlevania game available through either of those. And I'm just like, God damn it, what do I do? And then I remembered. I am the proud owner of a Super Nintendo Classic. And so I already had it set up. I just had to find the right input on my HDMI. And I've been playing Super Castlevania 4 because it is part of the Super Nintendo Classic.
Nice.
And it's fucking awesome. Is
it fucking awesome?
Game.
It's good?
It's a super badass game. So this is one of the games that like I didn't have as a kid technically, but one of my brothers must have had because I remember playing it as a kid on the Super Nintendo. And I remember being horrendous at this game. I could not get past the first level.
Are you kicking ass now, though?
And this is the first time I've probably played it since I was a kid, and I'm so much better at this game than I used to be. Yeah, well, I mean, I still probably wouldn't have played it until 95, 96 at the very minimum. But
I've played this shit. This shit's not. It's not the easiest game.
It's not the easiest game to begin with, and so I think that makes it doubly challenging for a child to play. So it's still challenging now. There is the benefit of save states with the Super Nintendo Classic, so I can kind of save my progress throughout without losing all my weapons and shit. But it's definitely a lot easier to play through now. than it used to be. But I am discovering how good of a game it is. It feels good. It's like just a really tightly controlling game. And I don't know. I mean, I know like the NES games I think are notoriously extremely difficult. And I think that this game, they changed it so that the whip can kind of go multi-directional and you can
Yeah,
kind
it
of hold
goes
it
up in
around
the
and
corners and stuff.
you can
right.
just like hold the button and like swing it around and just like it'll still damage people. And so I think it's an easier game than the old Castlevania games were, to be fair. But it's still challenging in some respects. The platforming is sometimes a little unrewarding, and you know,
play a
this thing
Cyclops
flips
in this,
upside
don't
down. Play as a Cyclops?
No, you play against a Cyclops. Like a Cyclops is a boss, I think.
Maybe, but I don't think I've gotten that far. I fought like a Medusa type boss, like a skeleton horse type thing. I just fought a big Frankenstein looking dude, I thought, but he like shrunk in size. So I don't know exactly.
I think I got pretty far in this.
But yeah, I'm through 4 stages now, which I think there's like 10-ish. I could be wrong. It's not a super long game or anything like that, but I think the replayability is what makes it. I think that was kind of how a lot of old games were, is like you just play them over and over and over again because they weren't super long, but they were fun and they encourage you to replay. So I'm having a blast with it. I do have Bloodstained on the Switch.
There you go.
Which is kind of the spiritual kind of, I don't want to say successor necessarily, but like same director as Castlevania Symphony of the Night, doing the same type of game, Kickstarter platform. And so I think maybe once I finish this, because I don't think it should take me too long to get through unless it has a huge difficulty spike somewhere. But
you'll have Castlevania games on Steam too. So I don't know if you want to sit in front of a computer and play.
Yeah, maybe. Is it the 3D ones or?
Yeah, you'll have
like Lords of Shadow, or whatever those are called.
Yeah, you'll have those.
1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I was feeling more old schooly type side-scrolling type Castlevania.
You need to play that fucking Game Boy Advance game, dude. Those were the good Castlevanias.
Yeah,
remember those?
Well, they did the Castlevania collection has, I think, 1 through 4, and then like 2 or 3 others, but it doesn't have like the Game Boy Advance ones or anything like that. So I have to wonder if they just do a collection of those at some point. So that's kind of what I'm holding out for, because like I guess I do have a Game Boy Micro, but I don't own all of those games. I might have one though. I don't know. Maybe that's worth looking into. But either way, I figured I'd jump over to Bloodstained when I finish Castlevania, just because it's kind of the most modern version of this kind of thing. And I got it for Christmas, so might as well.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
And more Animal Crossing. Not much else to add. I'm building. I'm funding a bridge.
There you go, dude. That's nice of you.
You know, I built a campsite on the beach. It's real nice. Oh, I built like a little Easter section. There's a Bunny Day event going on right now, so you get a bunch of Easter decorations that you can craft. And so I built like this little fenced-in area that has all the Easter decorations in one place. And I saw one of the villagers hanging out there last night, and it was very, very gratifying for me. So, so Animal Crossing is the shit. Still love it. I'll probably talk about it probably every episode.
Every time. That's okay.
Until
nice.
I'm allowed to go outside of my home again. So
it does sound pretty cool.
It's good fun. You know, I think, again, I probably said it already now multiple times in a row. It's the perfect game for now. It really, really is. So yeah, that's where I'm at with things. A little bit of content for you guys. But what about you, Andrew? You got anything that you've watched, been up to? Talked about kitchen stuff, but
yes, I tell you what I did watch. I watched that fucking movie about Jeremy Camp. I still believe it was an Amazon Cinema movie. It's about Jeremy Camp. I don't expect you to know this, but Jeremy Camp's a famous Christian singer, and it's about his life experiences and stuff and what he's gone through. And that's quite possibly the saddest fucking movie I've ever seen. Both Sarah and myself, now we were both a little inebriated when we watched it, but we both sat there and weeped for like 2/3 of that movie. Just sat there and fucking cried. It was sad, dude. Sad movie.
It's the I Still Believe is what it's called. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay. It's the one with Archie from Riverdale in it, you know, for those folks that like Riverdale as much as myself.
Sad movie. Cried a bunch in it. Pretty good movie, I think. It was definitely manipulative. I think it was definitely, it was just constructed to be that way. But whatever, it was good. What else do we have?
There's another one that came out. You said it was on the Amazon Cinema or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
This one came out in March as well in theaters. So it's just another one that just got fucked over by unfortunate timing.
Yeah. No, I remember that because she wanted to go see it. So,
I gotcha.
But anyway, so we ended up having a date night on the couch because we can't go out to the theaters and see it.
You got a nice couch for it, so might as well.
That's it. What else do we have? A lot of just doing the kitchen. I got an iPad, so I'm gonna try to change my workflow a little bit with work and the things that I'm doing at work now. I'm doing spreadsheets and stuff, and might try to record this podcast versus on I have a NIC that's going bad on this computer with, so I have to do it over Wi-Fi. So if I do it over Wi-Fi, I might as well do it on this iPad, I think, and try to. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I've slowly but surely dove into the Apple ecosystem. It's far less problematic than Windows shit and all a bunch of applications on Windows. It's very easy, which I like. Don't have to fool with it a bunch. But I'm very pleased with this iPad Pro. I very much like it. And I think aside from doing a bunch of construction stuff, I have plans to create some furniture. I don't think I told you about this, but I'm gonna I have that nook there with the corner window right there by the kitchen. I'm gonna build a booth and a table out of pallet wood. Out of reclaimed wood, so I'm gonna give that at it. I've done the shiplap on the wall. You've seen that, right?
I have seen that.
I have a paint gun, high capacity paint gun. I've gotten very fucking handy.
I was just gonna say it's like one project to the next. You don't seem to take a break.
Yeah, we haven't been taking breaks. I mean, it doesn't help that Sarah, she's a 4th grade teacher. She's now teaching at home, so she sits at the house a lot, and she thinks of projects, which is great. I've always enjoyed working with my hands, and being kind of handy. But I've never really put a lot of effort into it. But so with the shiplap, I've used a router, I've used a table saw, I've painted. Now with the cabinets, I've used the paint gun, which is listen to everyone listening right now. If you ever have a desire to redo your cabinetry, don't. It's fucking terrible. It is the worst. And it's one thing if you already know how to use a paint gun, or if you have a paint gun or whatever. It's another thing if you don't, because then I ruined at least one cabinet face trying to learn how to use the paint gun. But anyways, it's a whole thing. I've learned it. I'm feeling really confident about it now, but boy, is it a project. It's terrible. The next project won't be so bad because I can make cuts in wood without a problem. I'm feeling pretty confident about that. So next project's going to be making a booth with storage underneath, with a table and, chairs. Now, Sarah says she might want to buy the chairs. I don't know. But if not, I can make the stools. I feel pretty confident I can make that on a table saw, jigsaw, and a router and all that. So, pretty handy fella. Turned into a HD TV kind of situation over here during quarantine.
A real handyman over there. I can see it.
That's it.
I'd watch your show. I don't have cable, but
you would watch it, huh? Maybe I could put it on the Quibi. I'll put it on.
Put it on the Quibi. Yeah, perfect. Make sure it's 10 minutes or less, though.
That's it.
Anything else you've been up to?
Let's see here. I don't think so. No, nothing else. It's been pretty just come home, paint, sand and paint cabinets.
Living the life.
Living the life. That's it.
All right. Well, sounds like it's time to wrap this episode up. So thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We are on Patreon. If anyone is willing to throw us a couple bucks, you will get access to these regular episodes ahead of everyone else, maybe some bonus episodes that we will hopefully be putting together for you sometime in the near future. God knows we have enough time at home to do it, although it sounds like Andrew's pretty busy, admittedly, but we'll figure something out.
I have the iPad. A lot of art's going to be being produced on this iPad, I think.
Very good, very good. Patreon.com/watch review repeat, or just head to our website, watchreviewrepeat.com, and click the premium tab up in the top left. Hopefully we'll have some information on kind of what we're going to do in terms of bonus episodes. Our plans got turned sideways by coronavirus, as I think everyone's did. So if you can help us out, great. If you can't, no worries. We got you covered with our regular episodes for now. So it's totally cool either way. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at WRRPod. We are also on Facebook if you just search for Watch, Review, Repeat. Questions, comments, and suggestions. We have been sorely lacking on the listener's corner of late, and I know that people have been watching shit, so I want to hear about it. Andrew wants to hear about it.
I want to hear about it.
Anything you've been up to watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. I don't give a fuck if it's Tiger King. Tell us about Tiger King. Sell us on why we should watch it. Again, offer still stands. 5 people recommend it. We'll fucking do it. But yeah, anything really. I mean, there's such a range of content out there now, and more now than ever. Like, people are looking for things to do, and maybe HBO's got you covered. Maybe Quibi's got you covered. Who fucking knows? But like,
let's hear about it.
We need things to do too.
We're in fucking quarantine. It's slow over here, guys.
So inevitably, with how things are looking, like, we're not going to have a whole lot of new theatrical releases for probably a couple months. So at least, right? So we're going to need to fill the time with something. So let us know. We'd be happy to take a look at something and maybe cover it potentially too. So yeah, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com once more for those of you that want to send us anything. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. And I mean, we're kind of at a point where we don't know what we're doing next. To be honest, we'll maybe do that Chris Hemsworth movie in a few weeks' time. But what are we going to do next week? Who's to say? Devs debuts its last episode of the season next week, so that could be an option.
That could be an option for me. If it could be an option for you, I'm interested.
Tales from the Loop, the Amazon series, is now up to stream.
That shit. Yes,
it's up to stream. That's everything at once, so that's totally up there now. So those are just 2 ideas I'm just throwing out there for Andrew mostly at this point, but we're kind of open to seeing what anyone wants to hear from us, because it's dire straits for a little while, I think. So we got to make do with what we've got. But yeah, I guess just keep an eye out for some new content from us. We'll try to keep the content coming as much as we can. We'll probably still end up taking a hiatus towards the end of the month. At some point, I do technically have exams to take at some point, even if they are pass-fail. I should probably put some sort of effort into them. That would probably be a good thing to do.
Preferred.
So we'll keep you posted, but I think at least hopefully you've been able to enjoy The Witcher, Castlevania, or Onward now a little bit more bite-sized entertainment. Not quite Quibi bite-sized entertainment, mind you, but something for you regardless. So yeah, bear with us. We're here for you, or at least we're trying to be. And we'll take it week by week. So until our next episode, Andrew has something to say to all of you.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Menjay.